You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with someone that's been on the podcast before in the Revenge of the Geeks series with Christopher Rourke. This is Evan Ewing. Say hello to everyone, Evan.
Hello.
Okay, Evan, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. What do you do professionally? What gets you money?
Well, nothing currently. I'm waiting for the summer. And normally, in the summer, I work at the Golden Sands condominium.
Yeah.
I'm like the mini mart dude, you know?
The mini mart guy?
Yeah.
So what do you, like, deal with deli meats and stuff?
No, it's just like basic needs, you know? Like, soda, toilet paper. Like, people come there, forget shit. We mark stuff up and sell it to them. That's kind of it.
That's the way to do it, dude. Inflation. That stuff happens. You go to an airport, what's the main price of a bottle of water is $5.
Shit.
Why is it as soon as I pass through the gate, the water goes up like $4?
Sex is pretty good. But have you guys ever had water?
Yeah, water's essential to life, especially when you're trying to feed or give 4 kids something to drink, and you can't afford $20 worth of waters when it's only, it's a little bit ridiculous. But not to get on that whole notion. So what's your passion, man? What is it, something that you want to pursue in life? Because I mean, we all have roads that we wish to follow.
Science, dude.
What do you mean? Okay, well, science is a broad.
It is.
So what subcategory in science are we talking here?
I'm interested in chemistry and physics.
Not chemistry like physical attraction between people, but chemistry as in dealing with the elements and the basics of that. Okay, where does that come from?
Well,
how have you been fascinated with chemistry?
The biggest turning point in my life was after high school, because throughout high school they're all like, yeah, you gotta go to college right away, you know, like...
Not true, I took a year off.
Yeah, this is my, this is my second year off, but I'm starting this fall.
You're starting to realize that you need to get something going.
Yeah. And, because my passion is art and kind of teaching people through art, you know?
You ever thought about being a teacher?
I have. And I know I would hate being a teacher.
Why is that? Rules?
The rules, you have to work within a system. I don't love that aspect at all. I think it's the, I'm 25% German, 75% Scotch-Irish.
I know you're not tossing it up to the freaking intolerance level of those two.
So, I think the 25% of me, the German part, loves bureaucracy and order.
Wants to fall in line.
Yeah.
And then
I love
part's like, let me get a whiskey.
Fuck yeah!
And spit in your mouth. You gotta think though, our educational system, it's not bad and it's not entirely good. Every system we have is flawed, very flawed. It's better in some aspects than others, but like in different cultures we have a better system. But nothing is perfect. Much like the average person, nobody's perfect. Nothing is perfect, okay? We have to find workarounds to deal with stuff. I believe our educational system at one point, especially during my childhood, was considerably flawed. Same reason with schools back in the day. Like, you know, summer shouldn't even be a thing. You know about that, right? The whole idea of summer.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it got started in the first place?
I don't know the exact history, but I can imagine.
Do you know the myth?
No.
Well,
explain it.
Okay, the myth was that they gave kids off during the summer because they had to help their parents on the farm. It was for farmers. It has been proven wrong by farmers and so many other people. They do all their harvesting and all the hard work like during the winter, and they're harvesting in the summer. So they don't need their kids during the summer. They need them during the winter when the work's actually there. So you're basically giving them off. The reason they got like summer off and everything was because the schools would get so hot back when they had old wood schoolhouses and all that. They would have to open up the doors and everything. They didn't have AC, so it was like it was unbearable to sit in that class. And you can't just go outside, especially with how dangerous the world is, you know, someone getting bit by a snake or something like that, like on the frontier days. So they were like, okay, we're just going to give kids, send them home and let them work with their parents. And it was just chalked up to farmers, even though farmers have came out and said, like, that's not what it is. It's just, we do nothing during the summer but harvest. It's the easiest time. So
people just get used to a system, don't want to change.
Yeah,
and
well, it's the whole thing. We lack in areas of change.
100 years later.
Yeah, in areas of change where we need it, you lack it. And a lot of kids are like, but summer's the best. It's like, yeah, but you lose so much processed information during summer. I'm not against summer at all. I definitely believe if a kid is like his only really job is to go to school, he doesn't have to pay bills or anything. And I think, like, for someone like me that didn't have a chance in school, didn't have the some of the teachers that took the time and effort to do that, they were just more about pushing on to the next student. The one thing I think would be unbearable to be a teacher is teaching a whole group of kids all this information, them finally getting it, and then them leaving you and you have to refresh with a whole new group of things. It's the same reason when you can chalk it up to podcasting. When you start a podcast with someone, you get into this intimate conversation and then you leave this memory or this imprinting like idea or, you know, conversation in the head where you're always going to remember it. We're always going to remember this conversation, me and you. But I have to go start a whole nother one with another person.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's fun in that, and I see the fun in that. I think as a teacher, you have to see the fun in your students eventually leaving you. And maybe one day, like my one teacher talks about, 30 years later, started teaching the girl's daughter of one of her first classes. And like, she stuck with it, and she was one of the most inspirational teachers, in my opinion, you know, dealing with my ADHD. But as a teacher, you have to deal with so many things and then try and follow like basically a set system. You know, a lot of teachers, it seems like you have to deviate like from the standard teaching normals. You got to try and do it the correct way without getting yourself in trouble, but make it fun for the individual student to learn.
That's exactly correct. Teaching is such a thankless job, you know? And granted, you don't get that many, like, inspirational teachers, considering, but, like...
We all have a teacher that left a mark.
Exactly. Like,
Hopefully in a good way, not
Mr. Christopher Hill from middle school. He's the guy. He's the best.
Why is he the best?
He was the social studies teacher, and he just had a way to get you excited, you know? He had a real respect for kids as long as they made themselves worthy of it, you know? He treated them like adults. He gave me that first taste of, like, being responsible for my, like, education and taking an interest in my own. And it's rare in a teacher to be able to, like, pull that out of a young kid. Because this is 8th grade, I think. Yeah, so. And, you know, it sucks. Because that's my main issue. That's why I took a break. Because this is more on me. I find it hard to blame, like, the school system or teachers on this or whatever. I just didn't have any passion. I felt no love for what I was doing in school. I was a good kid. I got decent grades, but, like...
You strike me as a nerd, no offense.
I don't consider myself to be a nerd.
I think you're just a little bit, like, from my standard deviation of what a nerd would be, I guess. You know? Not in a bad way. I just think obviously you look a lot more intelligent than a lot of the kids around here that dress like stoners and try and kind of show themselves, their personality on their sleeve in a way. Where it's not a bad thing, it's just like, we all know, like, I've been mistaken multiple times, like, when I talk to an older person, help them with a door or something, like, wow, I didn't expect you to be so nice. Most kids your age are assholes. I'm like, yeah,
they kind of are.
It's understandable, because it's a true thing. We're totally not respective of other people's situations, and it's definitely hard to be. It's definitely hard to agree to those, but, like, going back to the educational system, when it comes to dealing with, like, the reason why I took a year off was I thought, once I get out of high school, I'm just going to work 2 jobs. No need to go to college. I'm just going to do what my parents did and do that and see where that gets me. Obviously, I'll just make money and just work. I'm fine with doing that. After taking, like, a year off and just working and all that, I was like, I'm fucking miserable. And it's like, I don't want to keep that shit up for the rest of my life. I want to be set in my ways to have my days. I want to find what I'm really super interested into and super passionate about to go chase after. And it's hard to do that. I remember I had one teacher. I've had multiple over my years of schooling, but one teacher in, like, did the craziest thing that really is something you got to do as a teacher. And it took, his name was Mr. Bevilacqua. And he took a stack of papers, and this was the New Year. So we just got back from New Year's break, you know, so we're just coming back to school in the new year and everything. And it's like, he had a stack of papers, I mean 150-page pamphlet on everyone's desk. The desks were lined up like there were 12 on one side, 12 on the other, facing each other. And he goes, all right, guys, this is how we're going to start off the class this year. We're going to fill out this whole packet. This is the next thing we got to work on for the next 4 months. I'm like, oh, my, everyone,
shit.
You could literally hear everyone just go, fuck. Like, and it's like, he goes, I want you to take the first piece of paper. And like, he kind of went with the notion of it. And he was like, I want you to look at the first piece of paper, read through it very carefully. And after like 10 minutes, like, you're still reading this freaking paper. Like, I read quick, but dude, I was like, there's some shit in here on my like new guidelines and shit. I'm like, one of it's a new student handbook. He goes, now rip the first paper off the front page, crumble it up and put it into a ball on your desk. We're all like, okay. Ripped it off, put it down. He goes, do it with the second one. And the next thing you know, you have like 100 of these little crumbled up pieces of paper on your desk, like little balls or whatever. And he goes, now, you guys are the English and you guys are the Spanish. Fight! And then we're all just like, our desks are set up like trenches, dude. We're just like chucking them across class, paper wall fight. It was the best and funnest class. And once everybody was out of ammunition, everybody's like, you know, like we're all like going into this war reenactment. At the end of like 40 minutes or whatever, he's like, all right, what'd you guys learn? And everyone's like, we learned that we can throw, like, you know, like,
yeah.
What the hell? It's like, and he goes, this is exactly what, imagine this with guns, and imagine this with, like, you know, bullets and ammunition and explosion. He goes, this is what the war was like, the English war, when we were trying to take over it was just, he was going into, I don't know the exact war, but it was so, like, holy shit, like, that type of thing. And then, like, once we reorganized the desk and picked up all the paper and shit.
That's so good, because it's like, look, those people, they aren't you. Kill them.
Yeah, it was like, but it got you to like, it got you right in the, like, right, especially from a break like that, where you're like so off, it got you hooked. Like, you were like lined up, like ready to freaking learn about whatever the hell you just did. That's when I started learning about Christopher Columbus, and like he was teaching you what was in the history book, and then he would go, now let me let you know the real stuff about Christopher Columbus. And he would pull up like all these documents and shit, and it would be like, Christopher Columbus cracked babies' heads against rocks and took all the Indian stuff. I'm like, whoa, that's not in the textbook. He goes, yeah, the textbook sucks. I'm like, that explains why everyone writes you're gay in the textbook.
Textbooks are so fucking bad.
They don't even have textbooks
They don't update
anymore.
them
Ever.
They
have all the new generation of kids have freaking
laptops.
Yeah, the laptops or the pads now. They have their own little tablet. You know, the kids use the VR virtual reality thing to go see Anne Frank's house.
That's actually sick.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's cool, but you lose the whole aspect of going on a field trip. You want to wake up early.
You gotta go. Yeah.
Go, and then halfway up the road, you're like, I need to pull over to this McDonald's or something to take a shit. Like, I can't hold it anymore. And everyone's like, really? You're like, sorry, guys, sorry.
I gotta do it.
I gotta go. But it's like, it's the whole thing of being like, you don't want to lose the basic primal aspects of what school was like, but it's not bad to advance technology in a way. I don't know, I'm more of
just technology is amazing for like, yeah, like, you know, all those expensive textbooks that schools can't afford, fuck them. it's all free PDF.
Africa
that every kid can get.
Now getting books, and we're working on, like, we're sending them our textbooks because we're working on getting better tablets, stuff that's going, like, we're gonna all have a
the best thing is how they're setting up like internet access in like Africa, so kids over there can just like actually have access to like all of the information that we have. That's a huge step.
But as the technology age advances, it's really hard to focus on in class. Like, every kid in my college classes, they're on their laptop, and, like, the teacher thinks you're on the blackboard for school trying to set up and do your classwork and reading what is on the board. No. Everyone's on, like, Facebook, Instagram.
Like, playing World of Warcraft.
Dude, one dude was playing World of Warcraft. That was your buddy, too. Your
Trask.
Trask.
Sorry for ousting you, Matt, but fuck.
He was like, you don't got to learn how to play World of Warcraft in class. I'm like, what? And, like, he starts playing World of Warcraft, and I'm like, this guy... And then I pull out my phone and like, get off your phone. I'm like, these guys are on World of Warcraft. I'm actually pulling up Blackboard on my phone because I was an idiot that didn't bring my laptop. But it's like, it's crazy to think. But then now the teachers are also advancing with us. They're doing signal jammers in the classes now, where they block the Wi-Fi off to the class. So it's like your classroom won't get Wi-Fi, so you're just gonna run up your fucking data. But like that's smart. But it's like, oh god, like what's gonna come after that? Are kids gonna find a way to hack past that? Like that's got to be already happening. It's like
well,
really
I have the
scares my
unlimited
mind.
data plan, so.
All right, well, shout out to your parents for paying for that one.
I pay for it, dude.
How do you pay for
mine.
it without a job?
Dude, I get money in the summer.
What, selling crack?
I save money, dude.
That's good. Well, it's really hard. Like the education system is flawed. So I can see where you wouldn't want to be a teacher. But what do you wish to pursue in the long run here as a job career development?
See, I love art. I did a lot of I did a production media course from the tech school, like a 4-year course, and it was with Mr. Reister. Have you ever met him?
No. What form of art are we talking here? Paintings?
I like...
Or videography?
I like both. I like comics and I like videos.
Okay, well there's a difference between a passion, like something you want to pursue as a job, and different between having a hobby. So what is your outlet here? Which job are you thinking about pursuing that might give you an outlet to use that? Because you're saying you're fascinated with science.
Yes.
So do you want to use science in your art?
That's exactly what I want to do.
Okay.
I want to use art to further people developing a passion for science and the advancement of the human race. So, and I have because I had a choice, because it was do you want to go to school for art and learn how to do art, and then you'll have your art skills, but then after you're done that, it's okay, you can get a job using your art skills. What are you gonna make? And what am I passionate about? I'm passionate about science, and I want to make art about science. I can't make art about science if I don't know science. I need to go to school for the science and learn the art myself.
What type of art do you wish to make with science that involves teaching or learning about science?
I'll tell you one thing that's really inspiring me. This is kind of what I want to do. There is a Japanese manga called Dr. Stone, and it's entertainment, you know. You read it, and it's a story about it's like an action kind of story, like a manga. You read it, it's fun, but the base of it is the human race. Everyone was petrified and turned into stone. One person wakes up, and this person is a genius science boy, and he is going to take the human race from the Stone Age, because everyone's been petrified for 3 million years. The Earth has been overtaken by grass and shit. Civilization has fallen.
Okay.
He is using science to build the human race back up. So, we're like Dragon Ball Z or whatever. Progress would be showing how strong Goku is getting.
Okay, wait a minute.
And how the fights go. The progress in this show is how far this main character can take the human race with science.
So your idea isn't really about the whole idea. I'm thinking of art with paintings. It's more about the fact of being able to create life or use something using the involvement of science to produce a better humanity in a way.
Yes.
So
get people excited about advancement.
Biochemistry in a way.
Yeah.
Is how you wish to do. You wish to produce your art form that way, like growing grass in an area that doesn't have grass. You're talking about more of a natural formation of...
That is one aspect, doing the actual scientific work yourself, which I am super interested in and passionate about. But I think I want... My passion is I want to teach people and show people that excitement through art. like a show or a manga or something or a comic. You know?
Okay, so you want
I want to give that feeling to people and get them excited about it.
So you want to learn more about science to involve your science in making, let's say, a comic book.
Yeah.
So you want to do that type of deal.
Exactly.
You don't really want to be like a painter or anything. You want to do more of like an illustration of like a series or something that might educate or pick up some kid that you had your similar interests that could relate to and maybe find something with the whole idea of chemistry.
Kind of like tricking people into being excited about science.
Now, the idea between a comic book, everyone, I think, at one point in their life, whether you're a guy or a girl or whatever color you are, you have the aspiration of being a superhero, mostly because of the God factor, the whole factor of having abilities that are extraordinary, making you some type of different than any other individual, much like a snowflake. Everyone is already like that, but this is taking it more to the extreme of, yeah, I can fly, being able to do something that, someone else can't, and or above the norm. So when you look at a comic book, I believe everyone has an aspiration to write a comic book or have their own comic book series. Whether they want to put the time into creating it or not is one factor, but I feel like everyone kind of wants a story to be told in the way they want to be told. Now, I think you can take that same aspiration with life. So let's say you have a story you're living right now. This is your story, okay? This is the Evan Ewing story, all right? And you got to think, how are you going to write this tale? How are you going to live this life? How are you going to choose what develops through it? There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be random pop-ups, random enemies coming in the way. But you have to figure out how you want to dive through and create this tale, this legend that's going to be, imagine a book at the end of your days, your 99-year-old ass sitting in a hospital bed, breathing your last breath, and then finally a giant thesaurus-sized textbook lands on your chest that says the history of Evan Ewing. How do you want to be remembered? That's how everyone should be looking at their life. They should look at their life boiling down to just a few pages or a thing. But you can do way more than that. You can leave history behind. You can change things. You can do so much with your life that you're given, but people don't see the true aspect of it. It's really hard just in saying that to even understand or comprehend that whole factor, because there's so many things that make us forget that easy inspiration right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so easy to get caught up in the drudgery, just like the boring...
Life is sludge in a way.
Sludge of life.
But if you think it's sludge, it's never going to be different from sludge. You need to start thinking of it as, it may be sludge, but I'm going to put a little bit of cement on that motherfucker, and I'm going to, walk across it with my head held high. You need to do something like that. And this is not trying to turn into some motivational, preaching.
Yeah,
but
it's just the truth.
It's something a lot of people don't recognize. If you constantly worry about your life being shit, it's going to be shit. You need to start focusing on things you can do to improve it, steps you can take. Stop worrying about your common man, your common woman. Stop worrying about that. Look at people as people and look at, if someone's going to be a dick or have that notion, you need to ignore that and make sure that's not you. That's not who you want to become. There's no reason that a 5-minute interaction in a grocery store should get us so pissed off. Why does it? Why does some guy that randomly says something that pisses you off in Walmart affect you all day? Why are you letting it hold on to you? You'll be sitting at night eating dinner, and then while you're eating your gravy and potatoes or whatever, you
think about it and
you drop a spoon, you go, that motherfucker. You really got me today. And you're like, why are you still dwelling on that? That was something that happened. And it's I get it. You don't have, your brain's trying to narrow down on stuff. It's hard. We have all these synapses firing, trying to chase through all these emotions, all these feelings, all these wants, all these goals. But it sounds like what you really should be chasing after is finding a way to be able to write and draw your own comics and being able to create your own story. Do you know the steps you wish to take to kind of pursue that? Because that is a giant journey down the road.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing. Right now I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing, I know the direction I want to head towards.
You know the end goal.
Yeah.
You know B, how are you going to get from A to B?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is plan your steps. Find something that you're interested in to learn about in school with obvious choices like drawing or artistic type talent type stuff. Learn more about different types of art and different types of culture. Definitely take an art history class, like the basic one you have to take.
Well, because art history, like, it's interesting and all. I don't really give a shit about art history, you know? Like...
You don't have to give a shit about art history.
Because I give a shit about science.
Look, I'm in art history right now, bro. Okay? I'm learning stuff about types of paintings, types of art. Use that same thing in comic books.
Yeah.
Are you going to make it more realistic, realism? Are you going to make it more formalism? Are you going to make a psychoanalysis comic book? I would love to make a psychoanalysis comic book. You know what that is? Alright, so you know the Rorschach test?
Yeah.
Okay. That's like... It's what a painting or what something inspires in your own mind. Let's try and find your mental holdback, your subconscious thoughts. It's looking down into your deep subconscious thoughts. It's making things, problems, whatever, things that are in the back of your mind that you haven't recognized yet. Much like when a therapist is talking to you and analyzing you. That's what a comic that I would write would do to you. You'd be sitting there like, wow, this is really making me think. Like, the way I'm talking, it's making you think a little bit, right? It's making you, like, kind of change your perspective on some things. Hopefully, I'm not just sounding like a complete jackass.
No.
But, like, you know, it's something like that in a comic book. If I can do that in words, which I haven't been passionate about, and I don't have the ability, I think, to put it down onto paper. It's the same reason I can't read a text, I can't read a book about stuff. I can look up the articles and stuff, you know, stuff that's more newer age to me, but I prefer hearing the words of history through the mouth of others, but not in a teaching scenario, more like a conversation. I feel like once I get into the whole aspect of authority where someone feels like I'm getting talked down to, I immediately lose all attention or tolerance for that, just listening in particular. So if I'm having a conversation with someone, I feel like I can be more open, if I can say what I want, and, you know, I can be real. And when you're designing a comic book, you have to figure out what type of art style you're going to use. What's your focus? What's your topic? What's your thing? Is it going to be superheroes? It's going to be fiction, nonfiction. What's it going to be? Is it going to be a biography? What is it going to be? Is it going to be a sci-fi journal? Obviously, yours sounds more like a sci-fi comic type adventure where you're basing it on a superhero. But that's all from your influence, growing up with superheroes and being fascinated with that. Some kids follow that into their adulthood, like chasing after comic books. My one bodybuilding manager, his name's Chuck, he literally told me, he was like, the whole reason I got into bodybuilding was I was really into drawing comics when I was a kid, really into Marvel Comics. I would constantly draw their bodies and like just draw my own superheroes, and I got obsessed with how they looked, like how their bodies were built like big and strong, and it got my fascination with bodybuilding. He found that passion to be a personal trainer through that. Like
that's inspiring shit.
But that's stuff you get. Superheroes is a type of like bodybuilding. Like it's a factor. It's a person that's so invincible. It's what we all we could aspire to be. We all want to be a modern day Superman, where we can, like, you know, be invincible, be able to walk into the street and just not care. Like, you know what I mean? And it's difficult, but it comes to the same idea of, if someone has a fascination for a superhero, there's going to be someone out there for a supervillain. So it's not like you have to focus on particular outlets. The main point is, if you're going to write a comic book, write something that you're interested in. Write something that you like. Don't worry about the audience focus.
Yeah.
Worry about something that's going to be able to get what you need done in it, and then whoever is going to pick it up and read it is going to buy it. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But if you're trying to please the audience out there, you're going to mess up and grab too many deviations from different things, where you combine it into one where it doesn't make sense and it's really hard for anybody to follow, rather than if you just stick to your own guidelines.
That
was a lot in like 5 minutes. I'm sorry. I ranted hardcore.
That's the thing, because Dr. Stone, I'm just going to go back to that, because that's my inspiration thing, because that takes the focus off of, like, being superhuman, and the focus is how amazing humans can be on their own. The power of science, and how, because science is a superpower. Mm-hmm. We're the only species that we know of that can solve problems like this and advance in this way.
Some of the times we solve them are half-assed, but
yeah, but we can, and that's scientific advancement is the Goku getting a 4th Super Saiyan mode and punching Vegeta. Like, instead of that, it's
It's literally
we figured out how to make paper. Fuck yeah. That's how that.
Now I can write down the groceries I need for the day.
But instead of that, it's like, yeah, we got paper. Now we can like do all this other shit. We got copper. We got all this, and it's like now we have like it follows a chain, and in that story, it's like 5 chapters in. Yep, all that stuff we were doing. We have antibiotics now in the Stone Age because we know how to do this from our scientific knowledge and advancement. And you're like, shit, now they're not going to get sick anymore. And it's that's where the passion comes in. Because instead of getting hyped and psyched out about like a cool fight you see in a show, I was getting hyped over like, shit, they're doing science. That's the real power that we have.
Yeah.
That anyone can do.
It's difficult, man, because you honestly, to find yourself getting passionate about something, it's really, really hard to find that. But when you find something you're interested in, if you take it down to the full length, the full aspect of how intimate you want to get with it, like, it's crazy to think. Like, we've made some inventions where, like, I can't even think, like, what they thought 10 years ago that they even thought it was going to happen today. And the next thing you know, like, 10 years from now, what's going to be the next thing? 10 years from now, it's going to be stuff you're like, how did we live without it? You know? But, like, the way you can wrap up how you can want to create your own comic or create your own idea of what you want to do with your life and put it into words and being able to kind of teach it to the, like, some other kind of, like, audience that would click to a comic book series or book series. Imagine this scene in I Am Legend where he's picking DVDs off the wall. It's like Blockbuster, man. You're walking through, you got to pick your genre, what interests you, you know. Are you going to have a fancy cover? Usually that's what catches like 80% of the audience is the fancy front cover of the movie or whatever. But like, that's the whole thing. Maybe if you design your comic book with a lot of pretty pictures, someone's going to pick it up and want to read it. And then that might get them interested. And it's crazy to think that's how it works, but like it's the same reason when you go to a movie store, you're like, where are the action movies, where are the comedy movies? I'm in for this type. You're in some type of mood. You're going to have to, without focusing towards a specific audience, but more like write for yourself, and hopefully that audience just comes.
You ever seen the Boondocks?
Yeah, the Boondocks.
Yeah. Remember the Christmas episode where Huey is like,
that show is so aggressive. And
it's so aggressive, but this is exactly what you're talking about, because he's trying to get his message across of, like, how Christianity really is and what Christmas, like, the pagan holiday it used to be and how fucked up it was. And his granddad's like, I don't give a shit. What the hell are you talking about?
That's a good show.
and then he realizes, fuck. I gotta get my point across, but people won't just listen to the truth. I gotta dress it up with lighting and special effects so people give a shit.
There's a reason why that show plays at like 2 o'clock in the morning, where like, nobody's up really. You have to kind of wake yourself up to watch that, because like they don't censor any words out. They're just like, this is Adult Swim. If you're a kid watching this, you need to go to bed before you go to school in the morning. Like,
or don't.
It really upset me because Invader Zim was always on at that time of night, and I was like, why is Invader Zim on so late? It's such a good show, but it was so weird and not like the average kid show that they want you to watch during the day.
It's not necessarily adult.
It's
just like,
it makes sense why they play the kids' cartoons during the day while the kids are at school, and then they play like the older cartoons at night.
Well, because they're thinking it is bad. The way they did it was
always on so early in the freaking morning.
Because they have the little kids shows on, and like,
dude, Baby Looney Tunes was the best.
Yeah. Oh my. You just brought me back to like, I would like be in the car, and like we took like my older brother to school. And, like, then we, like, because I wasn't in school yet, so we come back home, and fucking Baby Looney Tunes is on, dude.
I'd be staying home,
it's
like,
the best.
I'd be staying home fake sick from school or something, and I'd be watching Baby Looney Tunes. I'd be like, I would watch that show. That one, and then after that was, like, some type of other really crappy TV show. I'm like, alright, done watching cartoons now.
Like the Young Scooby-Doo. Where they're all kids.
I'm telling you, it's shows like that though. Like there are some shows I watch now. Like I don't like how they redid the new Teen Titans. Like this is what upsets me about society is how we like to throw stuff like through the washer and rewash it and bring it back in. I'm like I don't like that because it ruins the whole aspect of what originally. You ever go back and watch a movie that you used to like a lot and you're like, wow, this is not as good as I expected.
Yeah.
Or play a game you used to play all the time that you love so much, like, holy crap, this is the best game ever, and you finally get it and they remaster it or something, you start playing, you're like, wow. Like, so I did that with Spyro, that old dragon game. Dude, I remember those levels being so hard, I would end up getting so upset I had to go to bed because I was so young. Like, I needed to take a nap and relax. I'd be stuck on the one level, like, not getting past it, never beat it. And then I got the remastered version. I'm 21 now, so it's like, what is it, like 15 years, 16 years later, I start playing it over again, and I'm beating every mission in like 5 minutes. I'm like, I was a retard. I literally came out, I was like, Mom, was I retarded when I was a kid? Like, this is so easy. Like, no, you were just too young to play the game, and you didn't understand it.
That's when games are the best, though.
Yeah, it's best when you're a kid, but when you're getting...
Because you can't do it, and you're like... You build it up in your mind as this wondrous, like experience. Like a great wall that you can't pass. And then, like, you get older, and you're like... Shit, it wasn't that hard.
What really sucks is, like, when you... It's a great way to understand like what the thing is like to like. You ever play real guitar or play a guitar and then like you're not be able to hit the notes and you just get pissed off like punching your hand and that type of stuff. Like,
yeah.
Because you can't do it, your body just can't do it. All right, it's the same thing if you're playing Guitar Hero and you're a little kid and you can't win and you just keep failing and failing and failing. You eventually get pissed off to the point where you get yourself really upset. It's the same thing what people do in life. When they don't get their way or they don't win, they get upset. And when they take that road and get angry and get pissed off and start breaking stuff, and all you're doing is damaging yourself and damaging things around you. You're not affecting what happened. You're not affecting the roll of the dice or the choice you got. You know, you scratch the scratch-off ticket of life, and sadly you came up with some bad luck. The 8-ball wants you to try again. So it's like, how do you wish to pursue on forward? You're going to take that anger? Obviously, it's not like the smart decision to punch a wall or anything, but you got to do it sometimes. But like, you got to understand, like,
you got to have your outlet, man.
Life has its ups and its downs, man. It's a freaking roller coaster ride through the world's eye of a cat flying through space on a rocket ship in hell. That's what the best thing, like, just a random combination of mixtures of the worst, weirdest, craziest things or best things possible in one. And you got to look at it like, it's your life. You got to choose which road you're going to walk, how you're going to live it, man.
And that's the thing, because I like we were talking about, I know where I want to go. Because I'm just not going to do art school, because I finished art school. What do I want to do art about? Science. I finished art school, I don't know a single fucking thing about science. Like, and if I become a scientist, then, like, if I, for some reason, falter on my road to pursue my passion of becoming a, like, artist that projects a scientific message towards the people I want to teach it to, you know? If I fail at that, then I'm a scientist, and I'm doing what I want to do anyway. So, that...
You have a plan B.
Yeah, like, it's a built-in plan B, because...
Like a safety net.
Yeah.
It's the same reason people save their money. You have a safety net in case something goes wrong down the road. But
yeah.
I went to school with a war veteran, and he writes comic books now. And he writes comic books about war. It's a war survivor, and he's living in this, like, he comes back from war, and he's, like, traumatized, but he's doing his best to help and being able to cope and focus on, like, helping out the public. Like, he's like a modern day superhero type way, and
that
doesn't
sounds
really
like
have
an amazing story.
Doesn't really have a superpower, but the whole aspect of he's experienced something like that and kind of came back, and now he's focusing his experiences into something. So if you go out and experience the world of science, everything you learn from a comic book or everything you learn is from someone's imagination, and your imagination is created through experiences and things you've watched, things you've listened to, things you've smelled, everything. It's every sensory thing possible shoved into one. That's your creative aspect on life. That's your creative imagination. That's everything that you can possibly think of. You know, in horror movies, all the scary monsters and so people can't create new faces. It's when you see a monster or you see like a werewolf or something like that, that was created because your brain is literally putting together so many images of things it's come across or seen, whether it's movies, whether it's history books, whether it's monsters, whether it's anything like that, whether it's people's faces. It's just a mashup of your brain making all these things. Like when you have a nightmare and you're like, what is that creature that I saw? Like that's your brain mashing together and making something with this idea of creation. Think of creation if I'm holding a ball in my hand right now. It's a ball of like light. Like it's infinite. There's so much in there. It's like a neutron or whatever, like an atom. Like it's just this little ball spinning around with multiple other things around it. Like we don't fully understand its full capabilities. There's so many things down deep inside of it, and it's like your creativity just never ends.
There's so many ways and avenues that like I could take at this point. Like you're right. Like it's a fucking spiral. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, but like you know the direction you're going, and you can just make a decision and take the next step. And then once you take that step, then you can figure out the step after that. You know?
Do you feel like you're on autopilot? Or do you feel like you're just a meteor hurtling and you're trying to stop yourself and get yourself in the right direction?
I feel like I was on autopilot, and now I'm trying to steer the ship. Because
it's definitely hard.
I've known I loved science for like, I knew I was into it like months after I left high school, and like I wasn't in college. I'm like, all right, I don't want to do this, but like, I also am sick of school, and I was just taking the year, and then after last year, I just got into a funk. I didn't want to go again, you know, so I took a second year, and now it's just like I feel like I'm dying a little bit. Like the more I go without pursuing something,
you get bored, man.
I get bored.
See, the problem with our comfort,
and I do find things like. I haven't done nothing, you know.
Yeah.
I've advanced my skills in like video editing because that's a huge sink in time. Like I wouldn't be able to. I know. Yeah,
I know.
I wouldn't be at my level right now if I like was in school the whole time, and I'm really happy about that because relatively no setbacks on my plan to continue forward with the science and the art, and now I just have 2 years of finding out what I really want to do and developing experience with friends, people, what I actually care about, you know? Developing passion. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, and now I'm going to act on it.
It's definitely like where we have our comfort zones, you got to make sure, as much as comfortable it is to stay in our comfort zone.
Because when I'm sitting here at like 3 in the morning, I'm just like, sucks to be these people who have to go to school in the morning, you know? Good, I could just be here and exist.
Doing something.
Yeah, but then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, man, I fucking wish I was going to school.
Yeah, like, it's just the whole idea, like, it's fun to be able to have some time off, but once you have like 4 days off or 5 days off, it's like, all right, when the fuck are we getting back in the gear? Because if you get too comfortable and stay in your comfortable zone, you're never going to leave. And that's how people become, like, sheltered and all this type stuff, like, where you just end up not pursuing anything with your life. Just feeling like it's too hard or it's too much. You just want to sleep all day and do that. That is very, very difficult, and it's a detriment to society. I've been victim to it. We've all been victim to it. We got to get ourselves out of the slump that gets us out of the house and enjoy the life. I mean, literally, we are podcasting right now, and you can see the sun come up on the beach. Like, you hear the birds chirping. Like, get out and chase that shit, man.
Yeah,
it's going to be a pain in the ass, especially when it's like 30 degrees out.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, go out there and get it.
And
the world is your oyster.
It really is.
Fry it up and eat it.
It's easy to work yourself up and get into a mood where, like, everything sucks. We have war. The state of America, you know, we're fucked. Everything sucks. But
I like your life outlook.
It's not that bad. Like, yeah, some stuff is pretty terrible. But
I
like,
mean, yeah, but
if you focus on that, you're not going to change it.
Exactly.
It's not going to get better.
And if you turn on the news and watch that constantly, that's what they're focused on. They're focused on letting you know. And then next you see like a water skiing chipmunk or something. It's like, yeah, okay, thanks for throwing that story in after letting me know that the world is being bombed and blown up and people are dying and people are eating. There was a kid that got his body eaten by piranhas in freaking South Asia or some shit like that. It was like terrible. I was like, why are we showing this on our news? Like, people don't already take depression medicine as it is. You're focusing on the bads. Why are we always watching Trump or caring about his hairstyle? Let the man paint his skin orange and let's get some good things out there. Jeez.
And see,
this is a tough subject to even talk about because it'll throw you in a depressive slump even thinking about it. You got to think about how the world acts. We focus on... There's still people today, like we're now getting files released on JFK in 2017 was the last, release of like 200 documents where Trump still kept 50. Why is it a secret? Why are we living in secrets? It causes
Mr. Hill,
depression.
like I was talking about him earlier, he was telling me about like, yep, we got a few years until all the classified documents are legally required to be released, so we'll know what actually happened with JFK.
They wait till the last person that was involved in the whole thing freaking dies, and then they finally release it under the Information Act. I'm like, that should have been released when it happened. Like, I should have known about this a while ago.
Oh my god! And
you know the whole reason that everyone says it's like a conspiracy that when he got shot, his shoulder didn't go forward, so how did he stay up? Like it was like whatever it was, multiple shooters or something.
It was the magic bullet.
You know why he didn't slump over? He was wearing a brace from his chest down to his waist. He had surgery back in '54 that he had like a messed up, like he had a lot of like massive health problems. Like before he actually like got his last rites, he's got it 4 times. A priest had to give him his last rites because of medical reasonings. So he was wearing a chest brace, so it kept him upright after he got shot the first time. And then the second bullet...
That's so impressive, because he was such a charismatic, suave boy,
though,
you know?
If he didn't have that vest on, he would have fell forward and the bullet wouldn't have hit him in the neck. Because he stayed up, the second shot hit him right through the throat. So imagine, like, that's all the brace's fault. Like, the doctor came out and said, like, the brace was definitely to be blamed in that scenario, too. But, like, the whole reason they even took that route was to get more publicity.
Yeah.
It was to wave to the public and everything, because they were headed to a luncheon to do, like, that type of thing. So it was, like, I think either headed to the luncheon or headed back from the luncheon. I think it was headed back from the luncheon. But, like, it was to get the most popular attraction, like, you know, when you see Trump ride through the town or something. Now they don't do limos anymore. First of all, if you're having a bulletproof limo, what's the point? Yeah,
like you can't see into the windows. Just who cares?
I need to take a drive and clear my head. That's always the meme with JFK. It's a sad meme. But like, it's terrible to think, man, that the limo was X100. That's what they called it, X100. It's a Ford vehicle, and it was used 10 years after JFK got shot in it. They still use it for 10 years after, and they finally decommissioned it. I was like, damn, I don't want to ride in something the president died in.
Well, I bet it was something of a, like, defiant, like, we're not going to stop using it, you know? Like, fuck you.
Do you believe if he didn't get assassinated, he would end up being, like, not as popular as he is now? Do you believe that he might have just, like, fizzled out as, like, just another president? Because I believe, like, he died so early, it's the same...
He was so wrapped up in the Cold War, you know? Like, if he didn't get shot, like, we might have had a nuclear winter by now. Yeah,
it's the same phrasing as, like, do you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or do you die and be a hero? It's like... That's what it is. It seems like a lot of people that die early, like with good plans or good roads already set, and then we see them as great leaders. Like Martin Luther obviously was a great guy, but it's like those types of things. Like once we kind of set that in the boundaries of the mix, Is that the whole idea of what's good and what's bad? Like, is that what leaves us a stain in history? So if I go out and help somebody and then just get hit by a car, is that going to leave me entitled to be a great person and remembered through society? It's hard to imagine that. Like, do you think if Hitler would have went through everything he did and then it might have been culturally better? We don't know. There's alternate routes in history that we'll never know. There's alternate timelines.
Hitler was one man, you know, and like out of billions on the planet,
and he gets
like,
compared to the devil all the time.
It is unlikely that a man would go through the exact circumstances of Adolf Hitler and become Adolf Hitler, but like, it only needs to happen once, and then he's here, you know? Like, circumstances, like, you can worry about, like you can go crazy worrying about this shit. Like, you can get wrapped up in all the, like, what ifs and if onlys and that kind of shit, but like, it's not the way to move forward, you know? Like, you can worry about, like, what happened with JFK. Like, is the government fucking with us? You know, it's like, maybe, but if so, does that really matter right now? You know? Like,
is that the problems we should be focused on in general?
Because it's super interesting, and it would be distressing to hear that, like, yeah, they actually were, like, the United States government planned the assassination of JFK, you know, like, that would be fucked up. But, like, I'm not worried about that right now. Like, that's past. Well, you can't get wrapped up in that shit. You just gotta move forward.
What's the true question behind conspiracy theories? Why do people are so attracted to them in the first place? And you know why? So the idea behind conspiracy theories being so relevant in general is just the idea of wanting something to be more than what it is. And then turning out like, we want to know their secrets to everything. We want to know the secrets to life. That's the whole idea. What's the secret to happiness? What's the secret to life? What is your definition is really the answer. Everyone's going to have a different definition when you ask them. What's the secret to happiness or what's the secret to life? You know, conspiracy theories, it's the idea of something becoming more than what it actually is. Like religion. It's something you can't prove. If you haven't seen God or the evidence yourself, you're not going to believe it. It's the same thing when it's hard to believe evidence on conspiracy theories. Until we all have physically seen the evidence, we're never going to believe it all. And to think that we want our government to be some secret society type thing. We want there to be these secrets that we're discovering. Like, much like when you're playing a video game and you unlock a secret cheat code or a secret level, like, it makes it more interesting. If you think the government is holding back secrets, it makes life a little bit more, like, mysterious.
Yeah, like, life sucks and is hard and is boring a lot of the time and depressing, and you want to think, like, you want to hope that, like, maybe, like, life isn't really that bad, and it's just like one secret, like one big evil thing that, like, is a tangible thing to fight against, that, like, is the cause of all your problems. Like, whether it be, like, the government or, like, the devil, or the,
what's one common thing everyone does? They put their problems on somebody else.
Yeah.
They want to blame. We all want someone to pay for something.
That's exactly it.
It's the same idea with General Butt Naked or anybody that's, like, seen as, like, Pablo Escobar, someone that's facing serious things. Yeah, they did something messed up in our eyes, but is that our culture's view of it? Is why we think our idea of morality is based on where we grew up and where we live and what our cultural influence is. That's our idea of morality. It's not, everyone's definition of morality is going to be different. If you ask some kid in Africa, they're going to give you the answer of eating children or doing something like that is seen as, that's how you get power, that's how you get wisdom, that's not as seen as a bad thing. But in our eyes, it's completely different because this is how we are raised. And it shows which one might be the right course when it comes to the progress of that society. Since America's more advanced, is that because we have a better idea of what morality is? or we just got lucky with the roll of the dice on where we're from. Because you got to think, we did hit a landmine of like good resources. In some places like Africa that live in the desert and don't have access to a lot of different things, all they really have is gold and diamonds. It's like, yeah, they can trade for that stuff, but that's not anything that can help them build.
Can't eat money.
Yeah, you can't eat gold. I mean, you can, but it hurts your teeth. Like, it's hard to, you know, chase after that. But it's like, it seems like we're so willing to take advantage of them and what they have just because it's there. We have a better option. You need wood. We have wood. We would like your diamonds, but we'll be more than happy to take it once you guys die off. It's like, they're just like, all right, just give us what you can. Give us what you can. We're giving them scraps. Like, the whole idea of we have so much and we're not willing to give. We want more. We always are constantly obsessed. It's curiosity too. We're always wanting to explore. The war will never end. Curiosity is just too big of a factor. We want to be the alpha dog. We want to be the top one. We want to know what happens when we become the ultimate power. We also want to know how far space goes, how far everything is. We just have this idea to create, and we want to take that creation and discover as much as possible, which is awesome. But at the same time, we want to destroy as much as possible too. We want to make this world more comfortable for us.
Which, that is a grim outlook, and really, it's believable based on the current climate.
I don't think it's a grim outlook. I think it's realistic.
Yes.
It's a realistic interpretation of life. What's the most common thing a person's going to do if there's a tree blocking their view? Chop that fucker down. That's only because they don't see the beauty in the tree. They don't see that thing is trying to grow. We see it as it's in our way. We need to knock it down and build what we need to do. Which is a terrible way to live life. They were here first.
The worst part is, like the human race needs to come together to advance. That's just the truth.
The idea of having so many countries.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
What, like, most believable thing is for future humanity to, like, when we actually start advancing into space, some possible, like a threat outside of humanity that is threatening all of humanity to get us to come together as the human race rather than, like, America or China or Russia or whatever the fuck. We need to be humans. We gotta stop being, like, Americans.
We need to come together as one.
Yeah.
Well, what's the idea of the United Nations?
The United Nations is such a honorable idea.
It's a lie.
But
it is a bunch.
Nobody.
You have your own. Every country has their own fucking name tag, and they're literally just agreeing not to bomb each other. Let's all sit and nod our heads for TV purposes. They are passing notes, talking shit on each other. Hey, did you hear Libya was talking shit? Like, Libya's over there fucking staring at the clouds or playing like Angry Birds on their phone, and China's like, oh, these motherfuckers. Like, everyone in their heads, like, hi, like, everyone, like, out on the public is like, how you doing? It's nice to be here with you. I'm so glad we're friends. And then in their head, they're like, I can't wait till you get back in your fucking plane. You turn your engines on, and it smells like dog shit because I threw shit in your engine. Like, it's that whole thing. It's the whole, like, idea of fake personalities, people putting on a disguise or an act just to, like, it ends relationships. It's, you know, when someone comes out as who they truly are, we're afraid to show who we truly are into the world. And I try and reject that as much as possible. I try and be just as real as possible. If you are real, people get the real you. Like, everyone, literally, when they describe me, goes, that's just Robbie. That's Robbie. Like, how do you describe him? He's Robbie. Like, that's great for me. I try and make that in the best positive way. Like, I try and make sure I'm not like a dick where someone's like, that's Robbie. Like, chalk me up to an asshole or something. But I want to be known as the guy that says something and you're like, why the fuck did you say that? And then, like, 5 minutes later, you're driving down the road and you think about it and you just start laughing. You're like, oh my God, like, That shit happened. Because I remember, like, I've said stuff to people where they were, like, later in the day, they messaged me, yo, you had me cracking up on my way home. Like, I had a rough day, and I just thought about that, and I started laughing out of nowhere. I was like, I'm glad I could do that for you, because that is something we need to aspire and enjoy in life that we don't take. We don't take grasp of the full aspect of those things. And when we don't do that, you know, if you don't be who you truly are and go after what you truly want, you're missing the giant point of life.
I think a big thing, people aren't trained initially to value things, you know? Like, at least not in the modern day. Because I'm sure this was different back in time, but, like, I was on this, like, plan to... this was my plan as of, like, even, like, last summer, you know? I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to take all the, like, required classes first, and I'm going to kick their asses. I'm going to get a really good, like, GPA, and I'm going to get scholarships so I can, like, get affordable education at, like, Salisbury University, you know? And just further my education like that. Because spend like... At the time, now it's nearing 2 years. Like, at the time, like, spend a year doing nothing. You could spend, like, all that time just sitting at my desk, like, doing videos and stuff. I'm better at videos now, but I could spend that, like, getting a 4.0 GPA and getting a scholarship, you know? No reason I couldn't be doing that, so I'm going to. And then, like, you take initiative like that, and it feels good. But, like, even then, like, I didn't... Because...
You didn't fully grab hold of the scene.
Yeah, and it... I
get what you're saying.
I wasn't equipped to fully appreciate what I had and what I should be doing. Because the other month, a friend of mine, Tyler Birch, died in a car crash. You know, and...
Does it suck that it takes a near-death experience or a death of someone to really throw your life into perspective more? Like, it could make you come to more of a realization on what you need to be doing?
Yeah.
I've experienced a near-death experience, and my life has changed. My outcome, my outlook on stuff has changed. Mostly for 2 weeks afterwards, and I went back to how I was before. But there's some things, like, sometimes it takes that to really put your life in perspective. Like, you're one minute you're here, next minute you're gone.
Too, like... I've had shit like that happen to me, too. And it's the same thing. Like, yeah, like, it happens, and then you're like, man, that was scary. And then you keep doing your same shit, you know? And it's when it's... Because it's like a feedback loop. It's a hole. Because whenever I think of my life, it's like, yeah, my life, you know, it's good. Hey, like, yeah, maybe I'll go hang out with Tyler next week. Crash. Like, wait. Like, no. Like, I can't do that anymore. You know? He's gone. And I'm just trying to take that and channel that. It's been since it happened. I started going to the gym. I feel like 1 billion times better than I have ever done in my entire life, because I've always been a fat fuck, you know. And now I'm losing weight. My muscular system is getting in shape, you know. I'm feeling like a real person, you know. And it just takes that, like, that whole, like, something you're never gonna get back to realize what you should be doing.
Some things you never know what you have until it's gone, but some small changes in life when it comes to, like, eating healthier or doing stuff like that definitely can change your outlook on how things go. And it can change, you know, the way your body functions and the way your feelings are. You know, obviously if you eat nothing but Kit Kat bars all day and just sit and play video games, you're going to not feel too good at the end of the day. But you have to understand that what you're doing because someone that you were close to died is not a healthy way to how you want to live your life. You don't want to just be pursuing things. Yes, it's going to give you the drive you need right now, but you don't want to focus on that for the rest of your years. You don't want that to be the driving focus. For a lot of people it is. You also want your driving focus to be that you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to become something you are. And if you want to also have it there as like a reminder, like, remember, you know, you don't want to end up like, one minute you're here, one minute you're gone. Having that realization, but don't always hold on to the fact that he's the one pushing you forward, because the only person that can push you forward truly is yourself. Whether you're self-motivating in that way, but you are the only one that can literally get up right now and walk out the door and go chase your dreams.
Exactly. It's not. It's embracing not. It's the fact that that hole is never going to be filled, and. Like, not by you, not by anyone else. Like, that's just always going to be gone. And that sucks so bad. It's, because there's, like, movies and stuff, there's art, there's, like, people talk about it all the time. You can't explain it, you know? Like, you can get it when people are trying to, like, when someone dies in a movie, like, people have experienced that, and they're trying to get that across, but you're never going to understand it until it happens.
Yeah.
And
I see it, dude. I mean, I see you getting, like, a little touched up here, and I understand that, because I've lost people, too, and it's hard. It messes you up for a while, especially when you lose someone close to you, whether it's a family member or a really, really close friend. Like, the idea of never having them back. It's dangerous, man. Especially growing up where we grow up right now, especially during the summertime. I remember being on my bike and some dude wasn't paying attention. He pulled out a secret so when traffic's real bad, and he hit the back tire of my bike, and I flipped into traffic, dude, busted my jaw against the ground, and he just drove off, didn't stop or didn't help, didn't do anything. He was just like, oh shit, and then drove off. And all these cars, like, stopped in front of me. I was, like, getting up. I was like what the like, I was pissed off, but it's like, there's so much dangerous things that happen, and, like, so many factors. My buddy I had on my podcast, he's completely changed his outlook on life from high school. I know Timmy Gingrich, you know him, but he killed somebody in a car accident while he was drunk driving, and, you know, they didn't tell him until 2 weeks when he was in the hospital, like, after that his buddy was dead, and, like, he's going through all this pain. He had his foot ripped off, his face is all scarred up for the rest of his life, he's got scars all over his body, he's just, like, going this thing. But he's kept himself motivated and going. He's going to schools and educating people on drunk driving and all this stuff. Like, he's doing passionate things, and you gotta look at the aspects. Like, life is real. We are just literally bags of blood walking on this earth. We are not here forever. And as much as you want to think that your parents are going to be around forever, your animals are going to be around forever. When you lose an animal, you understand that's what happens. The whole idea of getting a goldfish is to help kids realize that they're going to have something that they love and they're going to lose it. And they work it up to a dog. And next thing you know, something that keeps... death is the expiration date for everyone. Nobody cheats it. It's the one thing in life that is guaranteed. Death is guaranteed. There's no way to delay the inevitable. Your body is just here for an amount of time and then it's gone. What do you want to do in that amount of time? Do you wish to do nothing and just kind of be comfortable and be like, I made it through life? Okay, was it a successful one? Well, I mean, I made it to a good age, 90-something years old. Like, I
had an amount of money.
Yeah.
I like some people.
Is that what you want for yourself? Or do you want to be like, nah, man, I died at the age of 40, but I was fucking remembered. Like, I did shit. Like, I went out and started movements, changed the world. Like, I turned...
Because... like, for death, like, I never want to die. Like, I'm not...
Nobody ever wants to die.
I'm not afraid of dying, though.
You don't know until you try.
Yeah, like, because... Like, obviously, I'm afraid of dying.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not afraid of, like, death. Or, like, what comes after, you know? Because, like, you're never gonna know.
You're never gonna know.
I'm not afraid of the thing after. Like, yeah, I want to stay here as long as I can, and affect as many people as possible, and have all those experiences, you know?
You want to leave a positive influence.
Yes.
You want to leave a positive footprint on life that people are going to remember you by. That's what everyone should aspire to want.
And, because most horrible shit just happens sometimes. Like, one day you can fucking find $20 and, like, you can... do it, like, you can do something you've wanted to do for so long. Like, something great happens, and the next day, you know, like...
Buy a bag of weed.
The worst thing ever can happen.
I've always wanted to do that.
And then the worst thing ever can just happen, you know? And
I get like that when,
You can either... you can choose to either wallow in the misfortune or just don't, and just live. Because it sucks, but...
Do you ever get, like, moments where you feel like everything's lining up too perfectly, like something bad's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I remember I hit every single green light in Ocean City. I was like, I'm about to fucking die. Like, something's gonna kill me. I'm gonna get hit by, like, a plane or something. Because, like, I'm like, there's no way this has never happened in my... I just made it all the way home with nothing but green lights, no red lights at all. I was like, that's crazy. But I've had that happen before. But that's just I'll go in bed and lie down and be like, alright, not going anywhere, not going to do anything, not even going to fall asleep. I'm just trying to breathe nicely and calmly so I don't die in my sleep.
I know that's a big thing in, like Japanese culture. Like, you hit a really good string of good luck, you're like, bitch, you're going to die soon.
Well, this is it.
But, like, yeah, like, you can wallow in the shit or just live your life.
How do
like,
you
like, there is a clear, correct answer here,
Do you
like,
want to be the pig that rolls around in his own shit, or do you want to be the majestic eagle that flies above the mountaintops?
Because, yeah, like, from shit just will happen to you. Like, bad shit happens to everyone. Like, karma, like, bad shit happens to good people and bad people, You'll notice it more if bad shit happens to someone who does bad, and you're like, yeah, that's karma, and like, but then like, the worst shit can happen just like some of the best people in your life. Like,
well, why does the 7-year-old girl that is like haven't really done anything wrong, why does she die early of terminal cancer, and then the older guy that's an asshole live?
It's because bad things happen to everyone. And
yeah,
you can bathe in that, like, misfortune and feel sorry for yourself and the state of the human race, or you can just take responsibility for your life and fucking just live your life yourself.
It's whatever you want to believe that's going to get you through the day. You can't follow anybody's notion of religion, can't follow anybody's notion of spiritual beliefs or anything like that. You can't. I don't like the Mormons, or not Mormons, but the Jehovah's Witnesses that try and bring you into their religion. I see their idea of trying to preach what they believe, but you shouldn't ever have to worry about conforming anybody. If someone wants to chase after that, then they'll come to you, but not the whole idea of... It's just ridiculous to try and make someone think the way you think, and the way they think is not right because they're not thinking like you. That's just ridiculous to think.
And that's the worst thing, and you need to be open, because you can listen to the Jehovah's Witness. Like, right around the corner one day, it was like just a woman. It was like a Sunday, they were heading to whatever, like, because that's part of their thing. Like, they got to go out and they got to preach their message, And I just stood there and talked to this woman for like 30 minutes one day, just about the Jehovah's Witness, what they believe in, why they believe in it, and like, I was going to like something came up, I couldn't go, but I was just gonna go and attend one of their like sermons or whatever they would be called, just to see what it is, like figure out why they think like that,
That's the whole reason That's the whole reason I started Fill in the Blank, dude, was to experience. If you educate yourself on a topic or just get your own views, like develop your own views on something, it's usually going to change the way you think about something, or it's usually going to educate yourself more on just the factor of what it is and why you don't like it. You're forming your own opinions based on someone else's opinions, so you need to take the chance to experience it for yourself. You can't ask somebody travel advice. You can't ask somebody if the food's good or not. They're going to give you their opinion, but you have completely genetic makeup, different thoughts, different tastes. You're gonna have a whole different view than that person might have. So you need to go actually experience it for yourself, because without actually doing that, you're not finding any value in life, or you're not really finding any experience with anything. You're forming opinions based on someone else's, and they could be opinions that could be wrong.
And that's the thing, because you always have to question everything, but you gotta listen, like, because you can't question if you don't understand, like what they're thinking, what their line of thought is, why they think it. I watched the TED Talks the other day, and it was like this black musician, I think this was in the 90s or the 80s, like, he really wanted to figure out how people like the KKK, how they come to these conclusions, and how they can just hate people without even knowing them. And so he sets up a meeting with the leader of the American Ku Klux Klan, and
I know what article that is, too.
He gets him in a room, and they just talk for a few hours, and he explains to him why he is a lesser human being than him because of his skin color. And he doesn't like, obviously he gets angry, but he doesn't, like, get violent or anything. He just wants to understand. And this relationship blossoms, and they form respect for each other. And, like, just having simple respect for your fellow human being leads to understanding. And through understanding, like, a lot of those beliefs come crashing down. That interaction that this black, like, drummer in a band had with this leader of the Ku Klux Klan, like, later in life, like, they became such good friends, he quit, like, he dropped his position as the leader, you know?
You can't just hate someone based on their where they're from or what they look like.
And
you have to take the time to
advancement,
experience who they are as themselves, because they could be your best friend.
That advancement, just, like, he made friends for life with someone who outwardly said, like, I hate you because you're black. They ended up being best friends and changed the world for the better. All because he took the time to understand why he thinks like that. Why would someone just hate you without even knowing you? And that, like, the whole thing was, like, you don't. Like, you don't really hate them, you know? Like, he just didn't understand. He was raised in that environment of hatred. Like, he was taught that he was supposed to hate these people. When he actually sits down to converse with his fellow human being, no. And all it took was understanding. Just the willingness to learn.
Well, just like us. I met you through Chris when you guys came over to podcast. I never met you before, but, you know, then I formed my own relationship with you. And look, now we're podcasting. Yeah. We're here, and Chris isn't here. It's like, Chris is probably feeling out about it, but, like, you know, it's cool because, like,
we'll get him later.
I developed my own experience with you and my own information on you, and, you know, I like talking to you, man. You're cool.
You too,
you're
dude.
A cool dude. What's that shirt you're wearing?
Majora's Mask.
I knew it was. But, like, it's cool, man, because, like, we can shoot the shit and talk, and it's, like, it's nice to meet another person that acts a little bit real, too, on when it comes to the whole factors on life, and it's nice to just be able to experience everyone. Whether, you know, the main reason I wanted to do podcasting was to get everyone's experiences, because it's like everyone's a history book, and it's easier to talk to them than read it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the whole reason I want to go to an old folks home and just hear the stories they have. Imagine podcasting with freaking half of those guys. They got stories to tell.
You gotta take me with you when you do that,
I might do that today,
that would
man.
Be fun, man.
That sounds like something we could just do right now. Just head down there and start going podcasting with some old people. I don't know if they'll let us in without an appointment.
I don't know about that.
Can I see Bill? Who's Bill? I don't know. There's obviously an old guy in here that's named Bill. He's in a wheelchair. Well, that narrows it fucking down. Half of these people in here are in the, you know,
these people, like, my grandma's been in and out of these places, you know, because she would, like, get an infection and then have to go and just be in one of these places for a while. And their entire life is run on a schedule, you know? Like, they have time where they're just sitting in the common room together, just socializing. No reason we can't be in there talking to them.
And they have stories to tell, and they're there to ramble. Their kids aren't visiting them or anybody. It's like, we do the same, like, we say the same thing, like, oh, we're going to go there and do this, but it's like, we don't even see our own grandparents that are in that situation. But it's like, it's weirder when it's your family, but when you're getting stories that you haven't heard a million times already, it's a little bit different. What's your idea on podcasting?
My idea? See, the podcasts I listen to are like, I listen to one, it's called the, like, Procrastinators Podcast. You know, it's all these people who are already entertainers, you know, people who are out to, like, entertain. This kind of podcast is just, like, normal people relating their lives, you know? Like, their own experience. I love the name Out of the Blank, because, like, getting random people, these local people with
You actually like the name?
I love the name, dude. It, like, when you think about it, it's just like, yeah, these people coming out of the blank talking about their own life experiences, you know? You don't see them when they're just, like, your cashier at Food Lion or this Chris working at the casino, you know? But, like, when they actually start talking about their experiences, you know? Like, you build this picture of a community and about people who are out there living their own life.
You haven't even listened to the spin-off series. Fill in the blank.
Dude, there's so much Out of the Blank I haven't heard.
Thanks for saying that on the podcast.
And, like, I just like, I don't think of myself as a nerd, but, like, I have so much shit to watch, and, you know, like,
yeah. Mine's just, it's there.
Out of the Blank, because I listen to it a lot when it, like, comes out. And I only heard about it when it was, like, episode 20 with Chris, and, you know, and I listened to that one, and then, like, there's just so much other shit I watch, like, it just kind of slips out, you know, but...
It's also really hard for someone to get into an episode that's titled somebody else, but it's like, that's what that person's about. Like, this episode, obviously, when it comes out, you're going to be the one that views the whole thing. You're going to take the time to listen to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
I listen to Chris's. I listen to the one
people
I was
you
in.
know, because you want to hear your friends.
Yeah.
You want to hear people you've known and people you've talked to. But, like, when I do Fill in the Blank, it was a spin-off of Out of the Blank, because Out of the Blank's pulling stuff out of the nether, basically, like the nowhere, the space, and then, like, Fill in the Blank, filling in your brain with the specific topic. And it's like that one's more narrowed down topic, so like you're going to be attracted to certain things. Like if I'm talking about a government conspiracy, I'll name like a project. You'll be like, I want to hear more about that. I put up something about Project Stargate, the remote viewing project one about the movie Men Who Stare at Goats. And some dude commented, why are you lying to the people? I'm like, it's evidence. There is real, it's been documents that have been like out there and outed because the Information Act and all that. Like, it was real thing. The government admitted to spending $20 million, CIA did, to fund this program to create super soldiers that use psychological powers to disarm nukes and stuff, and they ended up failing, dropping it down to 3 people with $500,000. It's the whole idea of Men Who Stare at Goats. And like we have all these projects and government conspiracies where it's there, you just gotta type it in and it's there for you to look to. It just wasn't popularized. And we're totally forgetting about it. We totally forgot about Unit 731 and all the Nazi experiment programs. We just know the Nazis were bad people. But do we know the history and basis behind it? That's why I'm saying, if you educate yourself more on life and educate yourself more on people and your own experiences in general, you're going to have a better life. You're going to be able to understand more and be open more. I used to be against gender, that fluid thing.
Yeah.
Now I talk to a transgender and she educated me more on the whole aspect of it, and now I'm open to it. I like the idea of it. I don't believe you should flip back and forth between genders 10, 15 times during a 5-minute conversation, but I believe, like, there are people that believe with gender dysphoria, like they believe they're in the wrong body and all this different aspects. I understand that 100%, and it's hard to find your true thing in life where you fit in. Think of it as a puzzle. We're all pieces that are trying to come together and fit. So how are you going to complete the puzzle? How are you going to complete your puzzle?
Man.
You definitely have some things to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
this fucking podcast, dude.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
No, it's all good, man. I say that in the best possible way.
You gave me a sigh. I was like, oh God, I'm draining them.
No, you're not draining me. It's more like, you're right. It's a lot to think about. You know,
it's out of the blank. It's definitely something that gets your mind racing and chasing. Well, that was the whole point of it. And Evan, I appreciate you doing this episode. It was
Absolutely,
nice to finally
man.
get you out there and get your voice heard. And we're going to have you on again soon for sure. We're probably going to do another Revenge of the Geeks somewhere down the line.
Yeah, because we got Chris. Probably get Devin Mooborn in on this.
Get like 30 people in and just have a podcast.
Because I know I got maybe 3 other people that can come and introduce themselves on a Revenge of the Geeks.
Oh god.
Maybe on the Hellboy one. We have that movie night. We're all
Sounds
talking
good.
about it.
Don't spoil it for anybody else.
I will not.
All right. Well, thanks again, Evan, and hope you enjoyed the podcast.
Absolutely, man.